Good morning, friends. My name is Kaustubh Parate. I am a CA Foundation aspirant, and today I am going to take lecture on CA Foundation Law on the chapter 1, the Indian Contract Act 1872, and Unit 1, Nature of a Contract. So today onwards I am taking lecture on this chapter or unit, and I will be teaching you. So to we will study in this chapter and we will understand the meaning of the term agreement and contract and we will here understand the term the agreement and contract. In this law we are going to study the subject law. So why is the importance of law in CA foundation, that we are going to study. So I will be telling that why we study law. We study law because in the ancient times when we started doing work, uh, we have lots of troubles, like such as, for example, when we started doing work, means we started when there was a bullock trains we have been using. So that time there was a problem of traffic. So some rules has to be taken in consideration to so that there will be good so that there will be so that there will be good condition of traffic, so that we can follow the rules, and so that there will be no problem and chaos in what we have to face. That's why we are studying law. Why how the law has been developed. Law simply means rule. The Why do we study law? The basic meaning of the law is rules. The rules that we have to follow so that we can live life comfortably, and we can have strict control over ourselves. So there are certain rules in our countries, like in India there are various rules and regulation. Statutory and legal regulation has been taken by the parliament. Some rules has been declared, and there are lots of amendments has been coming in these rules. So we have to follow the rules. So there are lots of law and acts, and this is the one of the major act, the Indian Contract Act 1872. This is the first act of the India, and from here we will start our journey of CA foundation law. So this is the unit one, nature of contract. It denotes what is the nature of the contract. So this says that, and from here we will take what we are going to study. And the second point is no, the first we will understand the terms of agreement and contract. And second, we will see the essential elements of contract. Third, we will clear about various types of contract. And fourth, understand the concept of offer and acceptance and rules of communication and revocation thereof. So let's go on. See, from your chart we will get to know what is the contract. From this chart we will get to know from what we will study in contract. What are there are two elements of contract. There are two elements of contract, that is agreement and enforceable by law. And in agreement we will study two things: offer and acceptance. In offer we will study legal rules of a valid offer, kinds of offer, essential of proposal, communication of offer. In acceptance we will study legal rules of valid acceptance and communication of acceptance. And in second point we will study in contract that essential of valid contract. And the third one we'll see the types of contract. No no I will teach you by line, and I will explain you what does it denotes. So the law of contract introduction. So we will go in the introduction of the law of contract. I will read this line and explain you. The law of contract constitutes the most important branch of mercantile or commercial law. Here, the law of contract constitutes the most. It is the most important branch of mercantile or commercial law. See, there are two types of law. One is mercantile law or business law or commercial law, and there is second type of law, that is criminal law. The first mercantile law, it denotes about the business. The law of contract, it is based on the business of the contract. So we will see the contract. So we will see the we will study about the business law, commercial law, or mercantile law. Okay. So it affects everybody, more so trade, commerce, and industry. See, it affects everybody. So on trade, commerce, and industry, it affects everybody means those person who are doing business and commerce and industry. Here commerce, it means that commerce, it is a subject. So an industry is a factory, or it will affect, it will take rules and regulation for how the how it will be doing in this mean, it states that what are the rules and regulations that the industry has to follow and what the businessman has to follow. Okay. It may be said that contract is the foundation of civilized world. See, it is said that the contract is foundation of civilized world. Okay. The law relating to contract is governed by Indian Contract Act 1872. See, the law relating to contract is, it is governed by Indian Contract Act 1872. It was passed in 1872. It came into force on September 1, 1872. See, the contract has been came into force in September 1, 1872. The preamble to the act says that it is an act to define and amend certain parts of the law relating to contract. It extends to whole of India. See, the preamble to the act said that it to define and amend certain part of law related to contract. It extends to whole of India. See, uh, first this contract was applicable to It was not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir, but after the some rules amendment has been taken by the reputed person. Means uh, if some amendment has been taken by the legal person, so in this contract is applicable to everywhere in whole India. The act mostly deals with the general principle and rules governing contract. See, the act mostly deals with general principles. It mostly deals with general principles and rules governing contract. And what are the rules that are governing the contract? The act is divisible into two parts. This act is divisible into two parts. The first part, section 1 to 75, deals with the general principle of the law of contract and therefore applies to all contract irrespective of the nature. The first part deals with general principle of law of contract. See, from section 1 to section 75, it deals with general principle of law of contract and therefore applies to contract irrespective of their nature. Okay. The second part, section 124 to 238, deals with certain special kinds of contract, example, indemnity, guarantee, bailment, pledge, and agency. Okay. As a result of increasing complexities of business environment, innumerable contracts are entered into by parties in the usual course of carrying on their business. See, as there are increasing complexities business environment, there are innumerable contracts are entered into by parties in usual course of carrying on their business. Contract is the most usual method of defining the rights and duties in a business transaction. This branch of law is different from other branches of law in very important aspect. See, this branch of law is different from other branch of law in very important aspect. It does not prescribe so many rights and duties which the law will protect or enforce. Instead, it contains a number of limiting principles subject to which the parties may create rights and duties for themselves. It does not prescribe so many rights and duties. See, it does not prescribe so many rights and duties which the law will protect or enforce. Okay. Instead, it contains a number of limiting principles subject to which the parties may create rights and duties for themselves. Okay. The Indian Contract Act 1872 codifies the legal principle that govern contract. See, the Indian Contract Act 1872, it codifies the legal principle that govern. It means if there are the contract between two parties. See, there are contract between two parties. This act provide legal provision to this contract. The act basically identifies the ingredients of a legal, enforceable, valid contract in addition to dealing with certain special type of contractual relationship like indemnity, guarantee, bailment, pledge, quasi contract, contingent contract, etc. It basically defines the circumstances in which promises made by parties to a contract shall be legally binding on them. This unit refers to the essential of a legally enforceable agreement or contract. It sets out rules for the offer and acceptance and revocation thereof. It states the circumstances when an agreement is voidable or enforceable by one party only, and when the agreements are void, that is not enforceable at all. Okay. Now we will see what is a contract. Okay, the term contract is defined under Section 2H of Indian Contract Act 1872. See, the contract has been defined under Section 2H of Indian Contract Act 1872 as an agreement enforceable by law. Say, a contract is means in contract it is an agreement and it is enforceable by law. It is meant the contract have agreement and it is enforceable by law. The contract consists of two essential elements: an agreement and it's enforceable by law. Say a contract is an agreement and it is enforceable by law. Agreement. The term agreement given in section 2E of the act is defined as every promise and every set of promise forming the consideration for each other. See, the term agreement given in section 2E, the agreement, it is given in the section 2E of the act is defined as every promise and every set of promise. It means it is a every promise and as every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. Okay. To have an insight into the definition of agreement, we need to understand promise. Section 2b defines promise as when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. Proposal when accepted become a promise. See, in section 2b defines promise as when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto. See, when the person to whom proposal is made means a person to whom the promise is made, he signifies his assent thereto. That is signifies his assent means he provide his consideration to the other party. The proposal is said to be accepted. The proposal is said to be accepted. Proposal when accepted becomes a promise. The following points emerge from the above definition. When the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent on the proposal which is made to him, the proposal become accepted. Accepted proposal become promise. Thus, we say that an agreement is the result of proposal made by one party to the other party, and that other party gives a acceptance thereto of course for mutual consideration. See, we see that thus we have see here in this point that thus we said that an agreement is the result of proposal made by one party. See, agreement is a result of the proposal made by one means promise has been made by the one party to the other party, and that other party gives a acceptance thereto of course for mutual consideration. Agreement is equal to offer or proposal plus acceptance. Enforceable by law. An agreement to become a contract must give rise to a legal obligation, which means a duly enforceable by law. Okay. Thus, from above definition, it can be concluded that contract is equal to accepted proposal or agreement plus enforceable by law. On elaborating about two concepts, it is obvious that contract comprises of an agreement which is a promise or a set of reciprocal promises. That promise is the acceptance of a proposal giving rise to a binding contract. Further, section 2S requires an agreement capable of being enforceable by law before it is called contract. Where parties have made a binding contract, they created rights and obligations between themselves. In example 1, A agrees with B to sell car for 2 lakhs to B. Here A is under an obligation to give car to B and B has the right to receive the car on payment of 2 lakhs. And also B is under an obligation to pay 2 lakhs to A. And A has received right to and A has the right to receive. See, here it is an example. It is an example between A and B. Here A agrees with B to sell car for 2 lakhs to B means A agrees to sell his car to B for 2 lakh and yes, A agrees with B to sell his car for 2 lakhs to B. Here A is under obligation to give car to B. Yes, here A is obligation to give car to B, and B has the right to receive car from payment of 2 lakhs. See, and B has the right to receive the car from A after paying 2 lakhs, and also B is under an obligation to pay 2 lakh to A, and B is also under an obligation to pay 2 lakh to A, and A has the right to receive 2 lakhs. Yes. So this is the example of one contract. This is the one of the example of the contract. And the second point, second example we see. Father promises his son to pay him pocket allowances of 500 every month. Father promises his son to pay him pocket allowances of 500 every month. See, a father promises his son to pay him pocket allowances of 500 every month. Okay, but he refuses to pay later. The son cannot recover the same in court of law, as this is a so-called social agreement. This is not created with an intention to create legal relationship, hence, and it is not a contract. See, your father promises his son to pay him pocket allowance. Means the father has promises his son to pay him a pocket money of 500 every month, but he refuses to pay later. See, he refuses to pay later to the son. The son cannot recover the same in court of law, as this is a social agreement. This is not created with an intention to create legal relationship, and hence it is not a contract. Okay. So law of contract deals with only such legal obligation which has resulted from agreement. See, here it is said that law of contract deals with only such legal obligation which has resulted from agreement. Such obligation must be contractual in nature. However, some obligations are outside the purview of law of contract. Now examples, we'll see example 3. An obligation to maintain wife and children, an order of the court of law. These are status obligation and so out of the scope of the Contract Act. An obligation to maintain wife and children, an order of court of law. This is status obligation and so out of the scope of the Contract Act. See, in this example, it is says that it is to maintain, means an obligation to maintain wife and children, an order of court of law. See, the court of law has given order to a person to maintain, means to take care of his wife and children. So these are the status obligation and so out of the scope of the contract of law. See, it is out of the scope of the Contract Act. So this example has been given. Okay. Difference between agreement and contract. So we will see here the difference between the agreement and contract. Meaning, every promise and every set of promise forming the consideration for each other. Offer plus acceptance. Here it is the meaning of the agreement. Every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. Uh, Promise and every set of promise forming consideration for each other. Offer plus accept. See, every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is called an agreement. Okay. And contract. Agreement enforceable by law. Agreement plus legal enforceability. Here a contract says that there should be agreement and legal enforceability. So it's a wider term including both legal and social agreement. Agreement, it is a wider term including both legal and social agreement. It is used in narrow sense with the specification that contract is only legally enforceable agreement. Legal obligation. It may not create legal obligation. An agreement does not always grant rights to the parties. See, it may not create legal obligation. Agreement does not create any legal obligation. An agreement does not always grant right to the parties. Contract necessarily creates a legal obligation. A contract always grants certain rights to every party. See, the contract necessarily creates a legal obligation. A contract always grants certain rights to every party. Nature. All agreements are contract. Contract. All contracts are agreement. Essential of a valid contract. So we will see the what are the essential of a valid contract as given by Section 10 of Indian Contract Act 1872. These are the these are the essential element of valid contract as per the section 10 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. First, there are 6 points. First is agreement. Second is free consent. Third is competency of the parties. Fourth is lawful for consideration. Fifth is legal object. Sixth is not expressly declared to be void as per the section 24 to 30 and 56. And in this other column not given by section 10 but are also considered essential. Two parties intention to create legal relationship, fulfillment of legal formalities, certainty of meaning, possibility of performance. In terms of section 10 of the act, all agreements or contract if they are made by the free consent of the parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are not expressly declared to be void. In terms of section 10 of the act, see, it is in terms of section 10 of the Act, all agreements or contract if they are made by free consent of the parties competent to contract for lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are not expressly declared to be void. Since section 10 is not complete and exhaustive, so there are certain other sections which also contain requirement for an agreement to be enforceable. Thus, in order to create a valid contract, the following essential elements should be present. Two parties. Okay. These are the following essential element to be present for a contract to be a valid. Okay, so first point is two parties. One cannot contract with himself. A contract involves at least two parties, one party making the offer and other party accepting it. A contract may be made by natural person and by other person having legal existence. Example: companies, universities, etc. It is necessary to remember that identity of parties be ascertainable. One cannot see. I will read it again. Two parties. One cannot contract with him. See, one cannot contract with himself. A contract involves at least two parties. The contract involves at least two parties. One party is making the offer and other party accepting it. Okay. One party is making the offer and the other party accepting it. A contract may be made by natural person and by other person having legal existence. A example means a contract can be made by a natural person and other person having legal existence. Example: companies, universities, etc. It is necessary to remember that identity of the parties be ascertainable. Okay. Example: to constitute a contract of sale, there must be two parties, seller and buyer. The seller and buyer must be two different persons because a person cannot buy his own goods. Okay. To constitute a contract of sale, there must be two parties, seller and buyer. Okay, to constitute a contract of sale, there must be two parties, seller and buyer. The seller and buyer must be two different persons because a person cannot buy his own goods. In state of Gujarat versus Ramanlal S and Company, when on dissolution of a partnership, the assets of the firm were divided among the partners. The sales tax officer wanted to tax this transaction. It was held that it was not a sale. The partners being joint owner of those assets cannot be both buyer and seller. In states of Gujarat and see this is an example of intention of the party to create legal relations. Sorry. It is an example for valid element of to make a contract. Says it is a state of Gujarat versus Ramanlal S Company when on dissolution of partnership. See, when on dissolution of partnership, the assets of the firm were divided among the partners. The sales tax officer wanted to tax this transaction. See, when on the dissolution of the partnership, the assets of the firm were divided among the partners. Okay, the sales tax officer wanted to tax this transaction. It was held that it was not a sale. So that when some assets were should sell, some assets were to say should sell, but it was not a sale. The partners being joint owner of this asset cannot be both buyer and seller. Okay. Parties must intend to create legal obligation. There must be an intention on the part of the parties to create legal relationship between them. Social or domestic type of agreement are not enforceable in court of law, hence they do not result into contract. Parties must intend to create legal obligation. See, there must be parties to create legal obligation. There must be intention of the part of the parties to create legal relationship. See, there must be intention on the, both of the parties to create legal relationship between them. Social or domestic type of agreement are not enforceable in court of law. See, there are social or domestic type of agreement are not enforceable in court of law, and hence they do not result into contract. Example: a husband agreed to pay to his wife certain amount as maintenance every month while he was abroad. Okay. See, a husband he is it means a husband agreed to pay to his wife certain amount as maintenance every month while he was abroad. Okay. Husband failed to pay the promised amount. Wife sued him for the recovery of the amount. Here in this case, wife could not recover as it was an social agreement and the parties did not intend to create any legal relations. Okay. Now, this is an example of Balfour versus Balfour. Another example: Lekpal promises to pay 5 lakhs to his son if the son passes the CA exams. On passing the exam, the son claims the money. Here, the son could not recover as it was a social agreement. Okay. See, Lekpal promises to pay 5 lakhs to his son if the son passes the CA exams. On passing the exam, the son claims the money. Here, the son could not recover as it was a social agreement. Okay. Another example: A sold goods to B on a condition that he must pay for the amount of good within 30 days. Here A intended to create legal relationship with B, hence the same is the contract. On failure by B for making payment on due date, A can sue him in the court of law. Okay. See, A sold goods to B on condition that he must pay the amount within 30. See, yeah, A and B, A is the seller and B is the buyer. A sell his goods to B on the condition that the amount should be paid within 30 days. Here A is intended to clear, there is a legal relationship between A and B. Hence the same is, so it becomes a contract. Okay. On failure by B for making payment on due date, A can sue him in the court of law. Okay. Third point: other formalities to be compiled within certain cases. A contract may be written or spoken. As to legal effects, there is no difference between a written contract and a contract made by word of mouth. Okay, I will read it again. A contract may be written or spoken. Other formalities to be compiled within certain cases. The other formalities to be compiled within certain cases. A contract may be written or spoken. Okay, a contract may be written or spoken. As to legal effects, there is no difference between a written contract and contract made by word of mouth. But the interest of the party the contract must be written. Okay. In case of certain contracts, some other formalities have to be compiled with to make an agreement legally enforceable. Contract of insurance is not valid except as a written contract. Further, in case of certain contract, registration of contract under the law which is in force at the time is essential for it to be valid. Example, in the case of immovable property. Thus, where there is any statutory requirement that any contract is to be made in writing or in the presence of witness, or any law relating to registration of document must be complied with. Certainty of meaning. The agreement must be certain and not vague or indefinite. See, the agreement should be certain. Means it should not be anything that which is not it is uncertain. Uncertain means the agreement which should not be anything that we cannot predict, means that is not happening in the real world. So the agreement should be that can be happen and it is real in this world. Example: A agrees to sell to B 100 tons. Okay. Example number 9. XYZ Limited agreed to lease the land to Mr. A for indefinite years. The contract is not valid as the period of lease is not mentioned. Okay. See, XYZ has agreed to lease the land to Mr. A for indefinite year. See, the XYZ has agreed to lease the land to Mr. A for indefinite year. The contract is not valid as the period of lease is not mentioned. Possibility of performance of an agreement. The terms of agreement should be capable of performance. An agreement to do an act impossible in itself cannot be enforced. Possibility of performance of agreement. The the terms of agreement should not be capable of performance of an agreement to an impartial in itself cannot be enforced. Okay, so there should not be any agreement that it is impossible in nature. It should be possible in nature, so that it is termed as an agreement. Example number 10. A agrees with B to discover treasure by magic. The agreement cannot be enforced as it is not possible. Okay. See here A and agrees with B to discover treasure by magic. That agree see A agrees with B to discover treasure by magic. The agreement cannot be enforced as it is not possible to be performed. Okay. So to now I am stopping right here, and I will continue the essential element of valid contract as per the section 10. Yeah, I think it is section 10 or other essential element of section 10. It is as per the section 10 or not given in section 10. Yes, it is as per section 10. Okay. I will continue this later in this next video. So thank you.